Imagine for a moment that everything you perceive as solid and real, the weight of your body, the walls around you, the very air you breathe, is nothing more than a veil, a shimmering curtain draped across the deeper architecture of existence. What if, beyond the limits of your five senses, there exists a realm where thought is geography, where intention bends reality like warm wax, and where the soul, unshackled from flesh, can wander among the stars? This is not fantasy. This is the hidden science of astral projection, an art as ancient as the first meditators who sat beneath Bodhi trees, as enigmatic as the CIA documents that once classified it as a weapon of the mind. For centuries, mystics have whispered of the astral plane, a dimension where consciousness, not matter, is the fundamental currency. Here, the rules of Newtonian physics dissolve. Time folds like origami. Distance is an illusion. And you, the true you, the observer behind the eyes, can step outside the body as effortlessly as slipping off a coat. The implications are staggering. If such an ability is real, then what else might be possible? Could the universe be far stranger, far more malleable than we've been led to believe? Could the very fabric of our reality be, in some sense, a matrix, a constructed illusion meant to be transcended? Consider this. Every night, as you sleep, your consciousness retreats from the waking world. Dreams unfold in vivid landscapes, some familiar, some utterly alien. But what if these nocturnal journeys are not mere hallucinations? What if they are glimpses of a deeper truth? That the mind is not bound by the brain, that awareness can travel beyond the skull. Astral projection takes this a step further. It is not passive dreaming, but deliberate voyage, a conscious exodus from the physical vessel into the vast, luminous expanse of the unseen. The ancients knew this. The Egyptian priests spoke of the Ka, the eternal double that could wander the duat. The Tibetan Buddhists practiced Phawa, the transference of consciousness at the moment of death. Even the CIA, in their declassified gateway report, acknowledged that trained individuals could access non-local awareness, seeing places and events beyond the reach of their physical senses. Why would intelligence agencies care about something so esoteric? Because knowledge is power, and the ability to move beyond the body, to perceive beyond space and time, is perhaps the ultimate form of liberation or control. But this is not merely about espionage or secret government programs. This is about you, about the latent potential humming in the marrow of your being. The body is an anchor, yes, but not a prison. It is the ground from which the soul takes flight, and the method to achieve this is not reserved for monks in Himalayan caves. It is teachable, learnable. Within 3 days, with the right keys, you can step into the astral as one steps through an open door. Yet, this journey is not without its shadows. To explore the astral is to confront the mirrors of the self, the unresolved echoes of thought and emotion that shape our inner worlds. It is to dance with the sublime and the terrifying, to glimpse the infinite and return, irrevocably changed. But for those who dare, the rewards are beyond measure. For the astral realm does not just hold answers, it holds remembering, a recollection of who you were before the world told you who to be. If these words stir something in you, a curiosity, a longing, a quiet knowing, then you are already closer than you think. The path awaits, the veil is thin, and the choice, as always, is yours. If this exploration has stirred something within you, leave a like, share your thoughts below, or subscribe to continue unfolding these mysteries together. To speak of astral projection is to speak of the hidden syntax of existence, the underlying codes that govern not just matter, but meaning. Before we step into the how, we must first understand the why. Before we map the journey, we must first recognize the territory. For the astral is not some distant fantasy land. It is the subtle echo of reality itself, vibrating just beyond the threshold of ordinary perception. At its heart, This practice rests upon a singular, radical premise. Consciousness is primary. The material world, the one we measure with scales and microscopes, is not the foundation, but the surface. Physics has long whispered this truth. Quantum entanglement suggests that particles communicate instantaneously across vast distances, defying the speed of light. The observer effect demonstrates that the act of measurement alters the observed. And if the tiniest building blocks of reality behave this way, what does that say about us? About the mind that perceives, the awareness that witnesses? This is where ancient wisdom and modern speculation converge. The Hindu concept of Maya, the illusion of separateness, mirrors the simulation hypothesis, the idea that our universe may be a construct, a cosmic hologram. The Gnostic demiurge, a false creator who traps souls in matter, finds its echo in theories of a controlled reality, a matrix of perception. But whether one views these ideas as metaphor or literal truth, the implication remains. There are layers to existence, and the astral is one of them. So what is the astral plane? Think of it as the interstitial realm between thought and form, a place where imagination takes on weight, where emotions sculpt the environment, where belief dictates experience. It is not elsewhere, but everywhere, imbued within the very fabric of this world, like a shadow cast by a higher dimensional light. Some describe it as a lucid dream, but that is only a fraction of the truth. Dreams happen to you. The astral is a place you go. And how does one reach it? The gateway is vibration. Not sound, not frequency as we know it, but a fundamental resonance, the hum of consciousness itself. Those who have projected speak of a crescendo, a rising oscillation that precedes separation, as if the soul is tuning itself to a new station on the spectrum of being. This is why so many traditions emphasize chanting, drumming, or binaural beats. They are not mere ritual, but technology, tools to recalibrate the mind to the astral wavelength. Yet, this is only half the equation. The other half is intent. The astral responds not to passive wishing, but to will, focused, unwavering, and clear. This is why the unprepared often meet with chaos there, why their experiences dissolve into fragmented symbolism or fear. The astral mirrors the self. It is a realm of pure subjectivity, where inner turmoil becomes outer labyrinth, where unexamined shadows take on teeth and claws. But for those who approach with discipline, it becomes something else entirely, a school, a library, a cosmos waiting to be explored. And here we arrive at the most potent question of all. Why? Why venture beyond the body? Why risk the disorientation, the confrontation with the unknown? Because the astral is more than an escape, it is a revelation. To move through it is to remember that you are not a thing, but a process, not a noun, but a verb. A current of awareness that can wear flesh as easily as it can shed it. And in that remembering, something shifts. The walls of the world grow thin. The rules begin to bend. If this is the first time you've heard these ideas articulated so plainly, let it settle in you. Let it unravel the assumptions you've carried about what is real, what is possible. For we are just beginning to trace the contours of this hidden science. The symbols, the myths, the deeper narratives that have encoded this truth for millennia, they await us in the next leg of this journey. There is a language older than words, a syntax written not in ink but in the collective dreams of humanity. To understand astral projection fully, we must become fluent in this dialect of symbols, these recurring motifs that have surfaced across epochs and civilizations like fragments of a forgotten map. For the astral does not yield its secrets to logic alone. It speaks in visions, in archetypes, in the luminous metaphors that bypass the intellect to resonate directly with the soul. Consider the near-universal motif of the silver cord. From the biblical Ecclesiastes to the shamanic traditions of Siberia, there runs this slender, shining tether that binds the wandering soul to its physical vessel. It is the umbilical connection between dimensions, the lifeline that ensures the traveler's return. Modern projectors often describe sensing this filament, some as a glowing strand, others as a magnetic current, when they venture outward. What does this persistent symbol reveal? That separation is an illusion. That even in transcendence, there is sacred reciprocity between spirit and flesh. Then there are the gatekeepers, those enigmatic figures reported at the thresholds of the astral. Sometimes they appear as ancestors, sometimes as terrifying entities, sometimes as radiant beings of light. The Egyptian god Thoth with his scales, the Norse Heimdall guarding Bifrost, the Buddhist Dharmapalas who test the worthy, these are all manifestations of the same profound truth. The astral realm has its guardians because not all who wander should proceed. These encounters are not random, but initiatory. They ask, in their way, "Do you know why you have come?" The symbolism of flight, too, permeates these accounts. From Icarus to the winged shamans of Central Asia, from the broomstick-riding witches of European folklore to the levitating saints of mystical Christianity, the imagery of ascent speaks to something fundamental in the human psyche. In the astral, gravity is a construct of belief, and the act of rising becomes more than physical. It is an evolution of perspective. To fly here is to understand, viscerally, that the limitations of the body are suggestions, not laws. Perhaps most revealing is the recurring mirror motif. In the astral, mirrors rarely show mere reflections. They become portals, voids, or reveal hidden aspects of the self. This is no coincidence. The mirror is the perfect symbol for the astral plane itself, a realm that shows us not what is, but what could be, what already exists beneath the surface. When Alice stepped through the looking glass, she entered a world where logic was fluid, just as projectors find in the astral a space where thought and reality are indistinguishable. These symbols are not mere decoration, they are the living architecture of the unconscious, the signposts left by countless explorers who walked these paths before us. They tell us that astral projection is not some new age novelty, but an ancient human inheritance, as natural as dreaming, as primal as the first stories told around fires. The Greeks had their oracles, the Aboriginal Australians their dream time, the alchemists their inner temple, all different names for the same essential experience of consciousness unbounded. And what of the modern myths? The stories of alien encounters, of shadow governments experimenting with psychic spies, of glitches in the matrix. Are these not the same archetypes wearing new masks? The grey aliens with their large mirror-like eyes, the men in black with their eerie detachment, the simulation theory that posits our world as code, all point toward that eternal human intuition. There is more, much more, than what we've been shown. To engage with these symbols is to participate in the oldest conversation of our species, the dialogue between the seen and unseen. Each projection, each visionary experience, adds another brushstroke to the collective mural of human understanding. The astral traveler today walks the same symbolic landscapes as the ancient seer, because these are not places in the conventional sense, but states of knowing. Now, having glimpsed these deeper patterns, we arrive at the crucial turning point: how to bring this wisdom down from the realm of symbols into the reality of lived experience. For knowledge, untested, is merely philosophy, and these truths demand embodiment. To touch the astral is to momentarily grasp infinity, but the true alchemy lies in bringing that infinity back with you. There is a danger in these explorations, though it is not the one most expect. The risk is not becoming lost in other realms, but returning to this one unchanged. For what value has revelation if it does not reshape how we walk the earth? The mystic swims in transcendent waters not to escape the world, but to learn how to sanctify it. Consider the most immediate practical implication: the dissolution of fear, particularly the fear of death. Those who have consciously separated from their bodies, even briefly, carry with them an unshakable knowing. The body, is a garment. Consciousness endures. This is not abstract belief, but lived experience. In hospitals, there are countless accounts of near-death experiences who lose all anxiety about mortality after their out-of-body episodes. They return not with faith, but with data, personal, empirical evidence that existence continues beyond the physical. Imagine living with that certainty humming in your cells each day. How might it alter your choices, your relationships, your capacity for both joy and suffering? Then there is the matter of perception itself. Regular astral work rewires the brain's filtering mechanisms. Just as a diver who has seen coral reefs begins to notice subtleties in ordinary ponds, the astral traveler starts perceiving the dreamlike qualities of consensus reality. Synchronicities multiply. The boundaries between inner and outer soften. This is not mere imagination, it's a recalibration of attention. The CIA's Gateway documents noted this explicitly. Their trained remote viewers began experiencing non-local awareness, even in waking life, sensing information they shouldn't have been able to know. The universe, it seems, responds to those who learn its language. Practical applications extend into healing as well. In the astral, thought and energy are tangible forces. Many seasoned projectors report performing energy surgery on their own etheric bodies, clearing blockages, repairing luminous filaments, only to find corresponding physical ailments improving afterward. This mirrors the Qigong master's ability to direct Qi, or the Reiki practitioner's channeling of universal life force. The body follows where consciousness leads. But perhaps the most transformative integration is creative problem-solving. The astral plane operates on symbolic logic, where challenges manifest as landscapes to navigate, entities to dialogue with, or objects to manipulate. A writer stuck on a plotline might find their manuscript physically floating in the astral, with missing pages that write themselves when touched. An inventor could discover a strange device in that realm, only to later replicate its principles in the physical world. Nikola Tesla famously claimed he could operate his inventions mentally before building them. Was this not a form of astral prototyping? Yet for all these potentials, there exists a necessary warning. The astral is not a shortcut. Many approach it seeking power, to spy on others, to manipulate events, to fulfill egoic desires. But the plane mirrors intention back with frightening precision. Those who venture forth with greed or malice often encounter distorted reflections of their own shadows. The true practitioners, the monks, the shamans, the disciplined occultists, treat the astral as one would a sacred temple, with reverence, with humility, and above all, with the understanding that every journey outward is ultimately a journey inward. So how does one begin integrating these experiences? Start small. Keep a dual journal, one for dream and astral records, another for daily synchronicities. Notice when thoughts manifest unusually quickly in physical reality. Practice translating astral insights into mundane actions. If you meet a guiding entity who gives you a symbolic object, ask what its earthly counterpart might be, then take concrete steps in that direction. The keys are patience and correlation. The ultimate implication is this: astral projection is not an escape from reality, but an expansion of it. As more individuals learn to navigate these waters consciously, we collectively stretch the boundaries of what's considered possible. Every person who remembers their innate capacity to transcend physical limits becomes a living bridge between worlds, and in doing so, helps dissolve the illusion of separation that dominates our age. Now, as we prepare to conclude this journey, let us gather these threads, philosophical, symbolic, and practical, into a final tapestry of understanding. For the true measure of any exploration is not in the wonders witnessed, but in the self that returns. We stand now at the precipice between worlds, between selves. This journey through the hidden science of astral projection has been more than an exploration of technique. It has been an excavation of memory. For what is the act of leaving the body if not a homecoming to our original, unbounded state? Every separation, every flight beyond the physical, whispers the same ancient secret. You were never truly confined to begin with. The implications ripple outward like concentric circles in a cosmic pond. If consciousness can exist independent of the brain, then the materialist paradigm, the belief that we are merely biological machines, crumbles like a sandcastle before the tide. If time and space are malleable in the astral, then our linear existence may be but one note in a grander symphony. And if the universe responds to the quality of our attention, then reality itself is far more intimate, far more alive than we've been taught to believe. This is the great remembering, not an acquisition of new knowledge, but the recovery of something primal. The shaman knows it when they ride the drumbeat into the spirit world. The child knows it in those fleeting moments before sleep, when the bedroom walls seem to breathe. The dying know it most profoundly, that startling recognition in their eyes during the final exhale, as if greeting an old friend they'd simply forgotten. We have all been here before. Yet there is urgency now. Our world teeters between awakening and oblivion, between connection and dissolution. The Matrix, whether viewed as literal simulation or metaphorical construct of societal conditioning, thrives on amnesia. It wants us to forget our wings, to accept the horizon as a boundary rather than an invitation. Every conscious journey beyond the veil weakens this illusion. Each returnee becomes a carrier of the virus of remembrance, infectious through their mere presence, their unshakable knowing. So I ask you now, not as teacher to student, but as soul to soul, what will you do with this knowing? Will you let it gather dust as intellectual curiosity? Or will you allow it to seep into your bones, to alter the way you walk through grocery stores and traffic jams and sleepless nights? The transformation need not be dramatic. Sometimes the most radical act is simply living as if you are infinite. For those ready to take the next step, the path unfolds thus. First, become a student of your own consciousness. Keep vigil over your hypnagogic states, those twilight moments between sleep and waking where the veil is tissue, thin. Notice how reality glitches when you're exhausted or ecstatic. These are the cracks where the light gets in. Second, engage in daily reality testing. Ask yourself, often, am I dreaming? Press your finger against a wall to see if it melts. Try to float an inch above your chair. This constant questioning trains the mind to recognize the malleability of all experience. Third, cultivate sacred patience. The astral reveals itself not to the hurried, but to the devout. Like a shy animal, it emerges only when it senses no force, only presence. And finally, build a community of remembrance. Share your experiences without attachment to being believed. There are others walking this path, and your stories are the breadcrumbs that help them find their way. The revolution will not be televised, it will be dreamed. It will hum in the quiet moments when a stranger's eyes suddenly reflect profound recognition. It will pulse in the collective unconscious as more souls remember their sovereignty. You are part of this awakening simply by having engaged with these words. So, as we part ways in this format, know that the true journey is just beginning. The comments below are open not for debate, but for communion. Share your experiences, your questions, your signs and synchronicities. Subscribe not to me, but to your own unfolding. And if this message has stirred something in you, pass it on. The world needs its dreamers now more than ever. The body is an anchor, not a prison. The Matrix is a game, not a sentence. And you, dear traveler, dear rememberer, you are the wild card the universe has been waiting for. Now, step forward. The veil is yours to part.